Did you notice that corporations are kind of like high school girls when they first start up? It's like, oh, we're not like the other girls. No, we're a company that really cares about the consumer. We want to please our customer. We're going to do anything for you. I mean, think about Twitter in its early days. It's the platform for free speech. We want the little guy to talk truth to power. And when it finally becomes a big corporation, when it manages to destroy its competition, because everyone wants to go to the benevolent company, right? Everyone wants to go to the place that they're treated nice. Then the company becomes, we are going to ban you all if you misbehave. From this day forward, we get to decide what's right. And if you disagree, we are going to ban you because you have nowhere else to go. The market is a desolate wasteland that we have wrought upon the world. That we have crushed all the competition. Everyone is under our boot. Where are you going to go? You need to obey us now. Case in point, Netflix. I mean, look here, Bigot. I'm going to show you a major difference of opinion, right? Netflix in 2016 was still an upstarting company. It wasn't the juggernaut it is today. And people were sharing accounts and passwords, right? I never did something in my life. And I assume you didn't either. But apparently it was actually based on a study, half of the people using Netflix were sharing their username and passwords. And the CEO was asked about it. At the time, Red Hastings said that they don't really mind. It's said that it's something they're going to have to just deal with. And they said that in a way it kind of gives more publicity. And I think they might be right, because let's say you share your account with someone, and like a girlfriend, and the girlfriend uses Netflix, and then you decide that you're having a spat or whatever. So now you don't share the account anymore, so she's going to end up buying her own account, right? So in a way, it's like publicity, I guess. It's not good for the company, because obviously, they're losing money because you're doing this. It's kind of hard to judge just how much money they use, because maybe some people wouldn't buy a Netflix account at all. Who knows? But strictly speaking, the company is in the right. It's not moral to share the password. But the fact that the CEO said, well, it just happens, and they won't look into it, that shows that the company was a nice company, that cared about the customer, right? I mean, they were like, well, it's happening, but we're not going to be like Metallica and sue our fans. My, how things change in just a couple of years. All of a sudden, they're going to have a crackdown on password sharing. And all of the mainstream media, all of the progressive press, they're like, oh, that's such a good idea. Oh, corporation, give us the boot. Like, literally, this is how all of the progressive press is doing right now. I'm starting to think there's just two types of articles that journalists read right now. Fluff pieces and hit pieces. Like, literally, that's it. Because here's the thing, okay? If you're a evil capitalist like myself, if you're a horrible right-wing, conservative, then it makes sense that the company shouldn't allow other people to share their password, right? Like, the company puts on a product. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. That is the conservative mindset. That is the horrible person's mindset. Now I'm going to tell you the progressive mindset, the very liberal and left-wing mindset that dismantles everything. Okay, the progressive mindset would be, do you honestly think that the rich people are the ones sharing the password? Do you think it's the millionaires and the billionaires that are sharing the password? No, of course not. It's the impoverished people that are sharing the password. Because let's be honest, I mean, the account is kind of expensive if you think that in Romania, 1 month of internet is around $10 to $15. It's one of the best internets in the world, by the way. Like 4 years ago, it was number 2 worldwide as internet speed. I think it fell a little bit, might be number 7 now. But it's just so you can understand, right? Like in a country like Romania, Netflix account is very expensive. And it's the underprivileged. Now, Netflix is a progressive company. Numerous times they have said that they're very progressive, they're left leaning, they care about the marginalized people, and right? But for some reason they don't care about marginalized people unless it affects their bottom line. Okay, when it affects their bottom line, they become very conservative. It's pretty much how all the companies are today, economically right wing of Hitler, like the most conservative if you could have a narco-capitalist ideology, all companies would follow it. But socially, socially they're far left. I mean, Stalin is far right to them when it comes social. It's like a meme at this point. You know, when you ask a company like what is his policies, they are beyond communism. Like they're discovering just new ways of leftist ideology by the second. Very progressive, socially, economically, very right wing. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because you look at Netflix and, you know, they're like, oh, The Witcher. Let's have diversity in it. Diversity. Because it doesn't affect their bottom line, makes them seem progressive. And if you don't like The Witcher, it's because you're racist. Racismus, racist, right? So it's a marketing ploy. They don't lose a single dollar for doing it. Not a single cent. However, if they were to actually allow minorities to share accounts, or impoverished and marginalized people to share accounts, they start losing money. It's a little bit too progressive for them. Yeah, it's kind of hilarious because if you actually listen to the Netflix CEO, there was a controversy recently. I think it was in Saudi Arabia. I don't want to mistake it, but like it was in Saudi Arabia. There was an interview which criticized the establishment, and the Saudis wanted that interview removed, so Netflix removed it. And when questioned about it, it's like, well, you're a progressive company. You said you do progressive things, and they're like, yeah, but you know, the United States is just 7% of the market share. And they just, you know, like basically like they're willing to amuse the US and have like diversity and pretend they're progressive, but they have to consider the other world. Like, honestly, you know, morality is all nice and good as long as they just say a couple of things and pretend to do but like they have to worry about the economics. And this is why I'm making the video, because every now and then there's still a person that genuinely thinks corporations are progressive. You know, corporations are progressive like they used to be religious. Yeah, all the companies used to be religious back in the day, and they would show how religious they are. At least they were donating money to the poor back then, because it was considered virtuous. Now you don't donate money to the poor. Now you just cast diversity actors and just like, okay, I done my deal for today. Racism solved. Yeah, so apparently they're going to not allow people to share passwords by having a two-step authentication system. Number one, why the fuck would I want to give my phone to Netflix? Of all people, it's no, absolutely not. Well, I actually don't even have a Netflix account since the controversy that they had with cookies. I'm like, okay, no, not using it. But like, I'm not going to give them my phone number. Fuck them. And number two is like, okay, what do you do about the people that live in two places? Because I know a couple of people that do so. For example, my girlfriend often goes to visit her parents, which live in a rural area, and she goes for the weekend. So, like, what? Is she supposed to buy now 2 accounts? Or, like, her parents don't use Netflix, right? So she uses her account. Now, when I signed to Netflix, it said that if it's a person that I live with under the same roof, which is her, like she lives here, I can share my password, like I can share my account with her. Well, apparently now I can't. I don't even care. At the end of the day, again, like Netflix is right, okay? Netflix can decide what to do with their service. But that is the capitalist mindset. That is the conservative mindset. Netflix is a progressive company. They're not a conservative company. They're a liberal company. Different standards then. Completely different morality. So, you know, they should be forced to live to their expectation. Because again, like at the end of the day, it's not the rich people that are sharing the passwords. I'm pretty sure it's a person that makes a lot of money, doesn't like bother themselves, like $7 or how much is an account now. No, it's the impoverished people. And by the way, the bootlicking from journalists absolutely disgusts me. Like Wired.com, right? You can make an article where you just say, look, Netflix has a product and they should be able to do whatever they want. No. They make it and they say, it's actually good for you that Netflix doesn't allow you to share your password because think about the security risks. Like, think about, like, okay, Wired. Okay, I think about the security risks. If I were to ever share a password, which I don't, but if I will, I would just create a fictional password that's just for the purpose of sharing. It would literally be 12345. And I wouldn't give a fuck if that password gets hacked. Because if I share something with another person, it's probably not something very important now, is it? But I'm really happy that, yes, Netflix is very concerned about my password security. Well, what would I do without the Netflix CEO wondering what V does with his internet security? Man, I feel so safe at night. Like, all these corporations and all these politicians, like, everyone just watches over me like guardian angels they are. Just watching over me. And do thumbs up the video if you happen to like it. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.